Hey guys, Dave here, DMAC Customs, in the garage, on the YouTube, and the bomb truck. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. Hey, what? No, I don't know the words. But yeah, if you watched the last video when we were kind of winning and then failed, lost, losed, didn't win anymore, when I discovered all that sludge in my upper valve train and rocket cuppers and stuff like that. Yeah, so this go around, pull the intake. Hopefully that's where my problem lies, otherwise we're gonna have to keep digging a little deeper to get into the rest of it. Let's get at it. Disassembly. Okay, so I've already drained the cooling system again, just to get ahead of the game, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna actually take the carb off as well as my air cleaner. I'm gonna take it off separately. Just I could leave it on actually. I've got to pull the old the dizzy and stuff to get at that. I'm just wondering if I get the carb out of the way, would it make much difference? Possibly not, but I don't know. I was all set about that, but now I've taken this off, I don't know whether I need to. But I've disconnected all my fuel and stuff like that. Alright, not much left to take off, I think. Is that going to come out of there? How does this work again? Maybe I've got to take the next step down out. Can't remember how I did this now. Back in the day trying to get the old shit. I feel like this is going to be a skint knuckle. Oh, there we go. It's twisting my thingy. Loosen that off. Oh god, it's turning the whole thing. Oh, it's turning into a shit fight. Hang on. I do remember there was something weird with this, the way it had to be done up, and I was wondering whether it was going to hold hold water or not. But, okay, let's just tuck that up there for now. Alright, just got to pull the dizzy and then I can pretty much undo this intake, I think, hopefully. Longer bolt than I thought. I might need a spanner for those ones. Alright, just I decided to take the old carbureting machine off just so I could get to these 4 intake bolts, because I'll need to get to them with a torque wrench. All going well that I'm just doing gaskets and putting this thing back together. Fingers crossed, you know. Made an executive decision that the old carburetor has to be removed from the situation. Okay, something interesting. I've just taken out the last of the intake bolts. This one here, which was the second one from the end, was quite loose, but it's covered in oil, like when I pulled it out. And there's also a bit of oil build up and grime build up around this corner that isn't anywhere else, you know. But if you look at that, like it was really quite laden with the oil. So this is the corner that was leaking before, so maybe it's leaking here again. What's all that? I might wipe all that before I lift the manifold anyway, just to make sure I don't drop anything in. Let's take these last bolts. Actually, I'll give that a bit of a wipe. Just get rid of that. Now I'll take these last ones out. Keep on knocking, but come in. I need to get some new carb gaskets, base gaskets. I suppose I'll have to be sending away for them, I guess. We don't really have a good sort of speed shop around here, so I like small stuff like that. That's everything. Let's do this. Yeah, you can hear coolant moving, falling down inside my engine. Wow, there it is. What do you guys reckon? You reckon it's that back corner right there? That's definitely something going on. Like you can see here, see all this water around here. Something mucky going on here. Bit of sludge in the valley there. Damn. A little bit wet here. That could have been me taking it off. I don't really know. I have been getting a bit more of an oil leak back here too, actually. So I'm wondering whether the old, on the China wall there, was getting a bit not holding up, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, look, I just found a washer tucked in there. I don't know what that was from. It's possibly been something. Anyway, I don't know what that washer's from. Throw that over there. So yeah, definitely looks like that could be my issue there. Hey guys, well, intake's off as you've seen, and obviously you've seen where I suspect I've had a leak into the valley, which in turn into the oil, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I had a water leak back here, must be about a year ago, and we saw it when it was up on the hoist, when it was getting a Warren Fitness. It was running out of the back here, and running down the back of the head and down the block and dripping off underneath. And so I came home and I just went round and I re-torqued all the intake bolts to spec best I could. It stopped that leak, but what I'm wondering is that maybe, just maybe, did I push, you know, stop it leaking externally and make it leak internally, if you know what I mean? Or did I stop it and then it just was a weak point and eventually it just broke down and started leaking? Who knows? But anyway, that's enough for today. I've hopefully found my problem. I've got intake gaskets here somewhere. I bought some after that episode, and then after I torqued it down and it stopped leaking out the back there, I thought I had one. But yeah, obviously not. Maybe I did for a little while, but not long term, you know. So that's it for today. So see you tomorrow. Hey guys, so next day, and we've still got all our milkshake bringing boys to the yard. Milkshake bringing all the boys to the yard. I can't do it. Decline of Western civilization, singing that kind of stuff. But anyway, so today's mission now is to clean all of this up, try and get as much of this sludge kind of away as possible, clean up all my surfaces and that. I've got my gaskets. I actually bought these, as I said, ages ago, so there's some Felpro gaskets. Don't have a lot of choice locally, but I bought those. Yeah, I can't remember where I got them from. I think I sent away for them. They came from down the line somewhere. I kind of wanted them urgently, but didn't end up using them straight away. But luckily I got them because I need them now. So yeah, and I start cleaning up the... I'll do that later, but I'll do all my kind of bolt-ons first. I'll get those all cleaned up, and then I'll start sort of prepping up this area down here, if you know what I'm saying. So let's get at it. Hey guys, well that's the intake manifold all cleaned up and ready to go. Obviously this carb gasket didn't survive, but I was going to make a new one since I had some gasket paper, and found I actually had a carb gasket in the drawer, so in stock. How's that for like professional? Oh, one thing I've got to do is I've got to try and clear that red. They just make things worse. There it is. Now, this is thick. It's pH thick, man. This isn't even normal TH thick. This is pH. Look at that. You can see the coolant in there. This has been sitting like this overnight, so you can see the water actually kind of starting to separate from the oil again. But the same on that one there, you can see the oil and water separating. This side's not as bad as this was the side that had the leak in the intake. I don't know, why would that make? It wouldn't really make a lot of difference. But anyway, this side's worse. Anyway, I've got to scrape out all of this the best I can, and then I'll give them all a good clean out, clean up the gaskets, and yeah. What am I going to scrape that out with? I don't know. Be a bog spreader. So I might tip that up the other way. Try and get it all going away from the baffle. Check it out. You can definitely see the glycol and the antifreeze and water and stuff separating in there now. What am I going to do with this? Alright, brake clean time. Might just quickly pull this baffle out, so I can kind of get the sludge out from under it as much as possible. Ugh. Okay, final wipe out of those. They're all cleaned up just fine, as they should have. I might give the outside a bit more of a polish with some auto sol or something, just to clean up this chrome. The chrome's starting to break down on these anyway. I'm not that fussed about it, as you can probably tell with the old bomb truck. All that polished aluminium and chrome. It's just hard work, you know, like trying to keep it clean. And I can't really be bothered with all of that. Okay, so valve covers all done, ready to go, cleaned up. Just grabbed this PCV valve. Still seems to be rattling nice and freely, so don't think it's all gummed up with milkshake. I don't think. I could take it apart, I guess, but I can hear it moving around in there, so I think it'll be alright. Hopefully that won't come back and bite me in the finger, you know. But yeah, so now I'm going to move on to cleaning up the valley in the engine bay, you know, and try not to drop a whole bunch of silicon and gasket and shit down into it. So trying to figure out what order I should do that stuff in, whether it be kind of mop out the valley, then kind of cover it and do those upper gaskets and the silicon at the top, because you don't want to kind of get stuff falling down into it, even though I'm going to do a pretty quick oil change once it's going again, hopefully going again, knock on wood, all the superstitious things, to make the right vibe happen, the right karma. Can throw that away now. Yeah, so over there, whoa, what that? I'm going to flick that all over the 51. Okay, so kind of wiped out the worst of it for now. I haven't touched these gaskets yet, or the silicone and that around the China wall. But now I'm going to kind of lay something into this valley just to kind of catch gasket stuff. But I wanted to leave this until I could kind of really investigate it, if you know what I mean, like see what actually sort of happened there. I'm pretty sure this gasket just gave up and around here somewhere. It looks pretty much like it was on that top side. Yeah, probably in around here. Yeah, you can see there's oil, it's given up there. There was a lot of oil on this bolt, and these two were actually a bit loose, so I'm wondering what that's about. But yeah, let's clean all this up. I was supposed to put something in the valley there, wasn't I? Oh well, let's get on to that. There you go, tuck you in. Alright, oh well, I'll clean all this up and move on to the next stage, I guess. Cleaning, cleaning, cleaning. Just about done with the kind of clean up of all these surfaces and that. A bit of pitting and that across the China wall there, but that's pretty standard for a block that's probably as old as this one is. Ah! Sorry. And a few sanding marks up in here. Obviously I've used some 60 grit or something in there rather than something a bit more forgiving. So I'm thinking I might do these valve preload, rocker lifter preload things before I go too much further. Do you think? I think. While everything's in here and I can spin the rods and that nice and easy, and then start putting this thing back together. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Kniffy. I just jammed a bit of this Chuck's cloth and that down there just to try and minimise the amount of crap going into the cooling system. Minimise, I say, not eliminate, but might scoop this stuff up now so I don't knock all the crap in there. There we go. Still a few bits of silicon managed to get down into there, or RTV, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty grunty stuff, this grey stuff, whatever it was. Seemed to stick pretty good until it didn't. Okay, so. Hey guys, so gonna do the valve lash, right? And I was trying to figure out how to get my, I couldn't remember how I did it last time, and I knew there was an issue. I can't get a wrench onto the pulley, the balancer bolt, you know, so I have to bump it on the key. Anyway, I've got it set up at TDC and on number 1, I think. Well, basically both number 1 valves are closed at the moment, so they got just a little bit of wiggle there. But check this out. Most of them are all pretty good, but a couple of them are really out of adjustment, quite severely. So hopefully that might explain all the clattering that I was getting. All the clattering that I was getting, I wasn't expecting it from this side, and that one's real loose. I could hear something from that side more predominantly when it was running, and yeah, so I just got to figure out exactly how to do this so I get it right. I'm not going to do this as any kind of tutorial because I'm not an expert at it. Well, I'm not really an expert at much of anything, to be honest. I'm always guessing, but I may have done this wrong before, but I don't remember all that clattery noise. It may have just kind of come out of adjustment, or we may have a, you know, something else more ominous happening. I don't think so, but I think it's just probably me when I did it last time, didn't do it well. So there's that ice method, which is like intake, closed, exhaust, I think, something like that. You do rotate the engine until one of them is fully open, then you can do the opposite, if that makes sense. So I might do that, go around them all bloody 16 of them, and do them that way, just rather than kind of figure out the whole you know, this one, that one, that one, that one. I'm not smart enough for that, if you know what I mean. I've seen other people do it on YouTube, and they kind of set and they do a whole bunch at once, but they're not often with sort of roller rocker setups like this with stud things and things, you know. Shouldn't make all that much difference, but but I don't know. So I'm gonna kind of go through, do it one by one and try to get it right, hopefully. Ow. Okay, so that's all the preload done on the lifters. I got a feeling I might have done it really, really wrong last time. I think I did it in a way, it was the first time I'd ever done it, so they may have been under preloaded, if you know what I mean, or no preload. There was heaps of play and stuff. Some of them were really loose. Either that or I've done it really wrong this time. Essentially the comp cam spec for their lifters is, you know, as like the exhaust starts going down, opening, then you do the intake, you know, like intake. So you back off the locking thing, the internal, there's a little Allen key locking nut in there, locking grub screw type thing. Back off the adjuster and then kind of wiggle it up, wiggle the push rod up and down until it just kind of touches, just bites, and then one full turn and then pinch them up together, sort of thing, and then bump the motor until the intake starts to open, and then do the exhaust, and then go around doing all the rest. And as I showed you, like before, a couple of them were like really loose, and there were some that were like, it was probably, I don't know, probably about 4 or 5 rockers that were like just rattling around. So that would explain a lot of the clattering I was getting. I hope. I don't know if these things can come out of adjustment over time or what. You know, like it just, there's a couple that seem to, I don't know, have a, I don't know, hopefully it's alright. We'll see. We'll see when it gets fired up, and yeah, whether it kind of goes bang, knocker, 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 and I've got valves hanging open, banging into pistons, and kind of just bending stuff and breaking things. If that's the case, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. You know, this is amateur hour after all, but anyway, now I'm gonna do the intake, put the intake back on. So I've got to give it one final clean up. I might give it a clean with some lacquer thinners or some isopropyl or something like that to make sure my surfaces are super clean on both parts, the intake and on the block and the heads, and then set about bolting it all back on, torquing it all down, putting it all back together, see how it goes. RTV squirted around there. I'm gonna place my gaskets. That'll help hold them on there. I'm wondering, trying to decide whether to put a bit of RTV on the front side around the water ports as well. I don't know whether that's normal, good practice, but I'm concerned that my leak came from the front side of the gasket anyway, so that's what I'm thinking of doing, just in case you were wondering. So I think I will do that, even though it's got that thing on there. I'm going to put a bit of RTV round on the front side as well, just in case. I know I yabbered on in the last video about not really liking everything caked in RTV, but I'm going to be the hypocrite here and go, in this case, I think it's necessary. Alright, let me manifold and start bolting her down. Yeah. Bit of a, I'll try to give these a little bit of a wipe up, just, you know, just for aesthetics, you know what I'm saying? Yes, so that's the, I've got a lot of my fingers now, that's the intake back on, torque to spec according to the interweb, torque it down to do 2-stage torque, so about 20 foot-pounds, and then bump it up to 30 according to the interwebs. No expert again, so don't take that as gospel, do your own homework. And yeah, I always have a hell of a time trying to get the torque wrench into these 4 center ones. My swivelly thing's a bit too bulky to kind of get in there. So yeah, pain. But yeah, so carry on with the reassembly. You can see a bit of this sort of goobing out there. Might just spread that over a little bit, just so it doesn't foul up with the old distributor. Don't know whether that's the right thing to do or not, but I did it anyway. Now it's done. But yeah, just got to make sure that works with the, I just didn't want to hit that with the distributor gear and knock it, if you know what I mean. Having trouble talking again. Stressful. Kind of a little bit out of my element when working on internal stuff like this. Not enough experience, but this is how you get experience, I guess, is just get in there and do it, have it crack, at it, I guess. So what do we got to do? We've got to put the rocker covers back on. Before I do that, I might hook up that temperature gauge and stuff, put that back in at this point. And yeah, should probably bring it up to TDC again to help with putting that distributor in later on. Might do that, bump it up to TDC now while I'm thinking about it, just so we know where we're going with the old distributor setup. Got the thermostat thing, temperature sender in, that's that thing there. It's a bit of a stack of adapters and stuff. I have a crack at dropping this back into place. Last time I did this, I had a shit fight. Keep getting one tooth off, but I've got it set at TDC. I did have some marks on here that I put on with a Sharpie, but then I cleaned them off when I was cleaning the intake. So I think I know roughly where it was, and let's just do it. That's pointing at number 1. Oh, I wonder if the oil pump's in the wrong spot. Are we on TDC again? No. Okay, so I'll just leave that kind of loosish for now. I do have a rough idea of where the timing needs to be sitting. Now I've just got to, I'll put the rocker covers back on, then I can put my new leads on. Go from there, I reckon. Then maybe the carb, or should I do the carb first? I'll do the rocker covers first, and it'll stop me dropping stuff down inside it. It needs a pinch up by hand. I actually use the torque gun to kind of bring them down, but I don't like finishing them off with that, so just a little final little touch with one of them and one of them. Okay, hey guys, right, onto the distributor, or the HT leads and stuff now. So this is a set I bought on the internet. I hope I bought the right stuff, the right lengths and shit like that to go where I want them to go. Oh, they all look pretty short compared to some of the ones I've got. It's supposed to be under manifold. Compared to like some of these, I got like, this is like 9 foot long. Mind you, that one I think was exceptionally long, but now I've got to figure out how to run them. A little shorty. Where's that one going to go then? That'll be like number 8, I'd imagine. These look real little. Yeah, that must just be, that just must be a coil one. That's like, okay, get hung up on that. We've got lengthwise. Well, that's my longest one there, so I'm going to place my longest one. Well, that I guess be number 1. Okay, so they're the wrong kind of bloody lead. Damn it! Damn it! Okay, HEI socket cap. Oh, maybe I did buy the wrong ones. Oh, what a dipshit! These are like points style leads, I think. Yeah. What do I do about that? Yeah, wrong sort. Damn it. I just saw the MSD Street Fire and I just assumed HEI. What a pain. Oh well, I have to put these in away and stop. Go away. Go and get. And yeah, do the leads later on. I can do my plugs, because I'm pretty sure I got the right plugs. What a dipshit, I got the wrong bloody leads. Oh well, anyone want to buy some this style lead for under manifold things? Yeah? But we'll give the contacts a little bit of a scrub in here anyway, just to, since we got it off and stuff, just hopefully eliminate that as a problem. Don't think it is, but you can't even take those leads, just, you know, just go down to the local speed shop and go, yeah, I got the wrong ones, can you swap these out? Because those leads came from the other end of the country, or the other end of the North Island, so nuisance, man. Yeah. I just realised while I was having some lunch that I had reconnected the battery, and I've got like that thing there would probably have been live, maybe, I'm not sure if the ignition's on or off, but well, I better just disconnect it again just to make sure that we don't have any sort of sparkles and things like that unnecessarily. Well, next up, spark plugs. Speaking of sparkles, I'll do the spark plug since I can't do my leads, and yeah, then I'll plug all those back in and tie all that stuff back off. And actually, do I need to have that? Yeah, I might do my spark plugs, then put the card back on, then I can hook up the TV cable and throttle cable and stuff, and then run my leads around that stuff, you know. So spark plugs. Yeah. Okay, last plug in my little modified plug socket. I'll show you why in just a sec. Right, hopefully this will be visible on the camera, but there's my little socket, and this last number 8 plug is right in line with my steering shaft, and I can't get a normal plug socket on there, but I can get this little thing in here, so there we go. Not as bad as a old C15 I had that had been converted to a right hand drive, and the number 8 plug had to be undone from underneath, and it was a mission, and it had to be done with a ring spanner. You couldn't get to it with any kind of socket or ratchet spanner or nothing. It was just a, I think I might have even been this particular ring spanner as well. It might be why it's all ground down. Yep, there it does, just like that. Beauty. Keep that here out of the way. Get my carbureting machine. Throttle bracket thingy bob on. This paper washers are getting a bit, yeah, I wonder if I've got enough rubber to cut a rubber one. I'll reconnect my accelerator linkage cable. It goes in there. It does actually screw in, but I have a locking nut on the back of it just for good measure, I think. 10mm. I remembered. Yep. Has that loosened off? Maybe it has. I'm sure it was a bit more snug than that. Yep. Perfect. And then TV cable, it just clips on there. I can figure out how to make it clip on there. There we go. It's come out of its little keeper thing, so I've got to sort that out. There we go. That's better. That shouldn't need readjusting. It should be all good. Return springs. Again, the old vacuum booster later. Make sure we've got some brakes. I've got my PCV thingy-bob. It's got to go on there and over onto there. I'll just put that under the there. Yeah. Oh, get in there. Yep, get in there. Sure, it used to fit. Oh, got it. That was a bit harder than I thought it was going to be. Choke. I labelled that. Don't really know why, but I did. And that just plugs in that there. And the old Edelbrock. I've rerouted the leads, haven't plugged them in yet. Got to remember to do that. I wonder if I should do that now. I'll do that now so I don't forget, because I did forget once and drove off down the road on 4 cylinders and was wondering what was wrong with my truck, and it was just me. Yeah, so I just got to plug these in and then we'll go and route the other side and plug those in. Okay, so I got all my leads on. I think they're in the right places. This could be under pressure actually from me bumping the motor over. Oh, God, what a mission that was. Okay, I hooked my fuel line up. Got one of these fancy pretend AN fitting things on it. Oh, here we go. Try this one. Oh, there we go. Yeah, nice and tight. What else we got to do? Alternator. So fuel, alternator, water hose, and then we should be good, I think. A bit of deja vu. Feels like only last week I was doing this. My adjuster bolt in there. Put a new washer on it. The washer was getting a bit kind of stuffed. Why does that seem shorter? There we go. Come on, don't drop it. Don't drop it. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so that's everything hooked back up except for the battery, and there's no coolant in there at the moment because I want to leave that overnight before we put any coolant in there, but I'm gonna kick it in the guts and fire it up and see if it'll go for a start, and yeah, just want to see if it'll go, so wish me luck. So that was a pretty anticlimactic fire up. I thought I've been mucking around with the leads, trying to get them, route them better, and I kind of thought maybe I got a couple of plugs around the wrong way, that kind of stuff. And then that didn't help. We had the almighty backfire through the carb, so hopefully it didn't break anything. I think I'm 180 out. It's almost at TDC at the moment. It's real hard to see my marks and stuff on this, but I think the distributor's in the wrong place, and this is what happened last time I placed a Dizzy. I had such a shit fight with it. Other people just make it look so easy. It just gets in the wrong place, and I fight with them. I don't know why. It's the whole turning gear thing, and TDC. I know that sounds, compression stroke TDC. There's two TDCs. One's compression and one's exhaust stroke or something like that. I don't know, but I always get the wrong one. So yeah, I'll pull the Dizzy and try again. Yeah, I'll try and make sure it is on top dead center this time. It's going to be harder to see now because I haven't got my rocker covers are on and stuff, but we'll see. Well guys, I'm going to leave it at that for today. Still can't get it to go. Not properly, almost did. But yeah, batteries flat. The truck battery was a bit weak anyway, and didn't have many starts in it, sort of thing, if you didn't get it right. My backup battery has been kind of dragged out and used just for jump starting and stuff like that since I got it, and hasn't had any charging, so now they're both flattish. Yeah, still can't figure out this timing thing. I'm freaking out that maybe I've got too much preload on the valves and they're hanging open or something, but I'm sure I did it to the letter, but yeah, I don't know. might have to do them again. I'll charge up the batteries. It could just be a lack of electricity that's making it not want to fire and things like that properly. So I got it real close and it was just a bit too retarded, I think, and it was, I think I've got it like one tooth out on the thing, so I've hopped all the leads around one, and that's when we got it pretty close, but then it went and that was it. So hopefully till tomorrow or something later in the week, maybe next weekend, maybe I'm not just over it, but yeah, it's all back together. Whether it's back together properly remains to be seen. So yeah, catches in a sec. Hey guys, so next day, after a lot of reflecting and stuff like that, I pulled the rocker covers back off because I'm gonna, I was having trouble getting top dead center and all that kind of stuff. And then I flattened the battery and then plug leads and wires, Dizzy all in the wrong place. So I'm gonna go through, pull it all back out, reset, and then hopefully get it going. But an issue I was having yesterday was, kind of bumping the starter because I can't get down to the bottom pulley bolt, the balancer bolt really at all to kind of crank it over by hand. So I was bumping it off the key and did that quite a lot, as I was doing all the valve preloads and stuff, the lifted preloads, and it created an issue with a weak battery. The battery was a bit, anyway, in the old bomb truck you get a good so anyway, battery's been on charge, spare battery is currently on charge, but I thought I'd get myself one of those kind of like little lone wolf starter things, and they're just not that available in our parts shops. One of the local ones had one, but it was pretty rinky dink, so I thought I'll just come home after work today and invent my own. And here we have it, the Hot Rod Hermit 1. Okay, so this is just my remote starter with some wires on it and a momentary button, so hopefully it works. Hopefully my little clip things are big enough, or it might be a revised 2.0 version before you know it. So I'm going to hook this up and see if it works. I've done a continuity test on the switch and that works, and this is actually a switch I had custom made out in Bulgaria. there's a switch specialty company there that makes them, but you know, and I got it sort of air freighted overnight so I could get the prototype of the Hot Rod Hermit 1.0. I haven't put the 0.0 on there yet though. And yeah, 0.0 on there, so the Hot Rod Hermit 1.0. So we'll hook this up and see if we can use to bump the starter. Yeah. Okay, so I got the Hot Rod Hermit all hooked up. Probably could have made my wires a little bit longer, but now I can do the thumb on the number 1 cylinder trick and get top dead center, hopefully. So let's do it. Ready? Hope I don't get electrocuted. There we go. Compression stroke. Don't go too far, which is about right there. And that puts my dizzy at number 1, pointing at number 1. A lot of my plug leads in the wrong order at the moment on my dizzy cat because I moved them yesterday when I was getting all confused and stuff. So yeah. So I've got to move those back round. So we're on the right mark with my light. We're just a little bit past TDC on the compression stroke. Hey guys, up here. Okay, so it's, I don't know how many days later, still not going. I've done a heap of redoing and farting around with like preloads and research on the interweb and timing and dizzy in and out again and messing with all the leads and all that kind of stuff, and still not going. We've had probably the loudest backfire through the carb I've ever heard in my life. I had fire in the carburetor, just a little bit. It was like a little blue flame, and it's still not going. But I've been doing some deducting and some detectiving and sleuthing and stuff like that, and I've made some key mistakes. I think, I could be wrong, I made some key mistakes when I decided to reset the preload on the lifters, right? So I just went in, backed them off, reset it, cranked them up a full turn. I read some stuff on the internet, said full turn, but the average seems to be about half a turn. So I thought I'll redo them and do them again at half a turn. But what I think I failed at was letting the lifters settle back to their full height, like undoing them and then just leaving them and letting the little spring inside the lifter kind of bring it back to where it needed to be. So what essentially happened was it was probably set within cooey of its preload, and then I come along, undo it, and then wiggle it, go like this, and then go and crank it up one full turn the first time, and that compressed the lifter a bit too much. And then I've kind of put it back together and tried to fire it, and it wouldn't go. It was like and it wouldn't go, and it was shooting. Fuel was shooting out of the carburetor and stuff, which made me think, what is that pressurizing sort of thing? Is there a valve hanging open? Or maybe I did it wrong, which I did, I think. So I have to do it again. So I went around, pretty much did the same thing again. So checked them, cranked one off at a time, cranked it up another half turn. So what I think I've done is gone and then gone again. So hanging valves open. And when I was doing this, I was trying to use my Hot Rod Hermit engine rotating device, this little gadget here, the Hot Rod Hermit 1.0, and bump the motor over to try and get TDC on the number 6 piston, and I couldn't get compression on it, and I was like, it's not popping my finger off, and I was like wondering whether it was just the angle, couldn't quite get in there properly, and it just would not bumped my finger off. So I thought, shit, have I got a blown head gasket? And then another day or so goes by of sleuthing and detectiving and researching on the internet, because it's all fact on there, but this whole preload thing is just a whole nother can of worms. There is some science behind it and stuff like that, but there's a lot of people with different ways of doing it. Pardon me. And so I kind of thought, you know, could that have all been my problem all along? I had been cranking them down and down and down, and I'm hanging valves open and stuff, and hopefully I haven't done any kind of like pistons hitting valves from them hanging down way too far. I shouldn't laugh, I don't know yet. And then I was thinking back again today, okay, so like when I first took the rocket covers off and I was playing around with them, and I found, if you look back in this video, I found a rocket, and I think it was number 6. I'm not sure, I'd have to go back through the footage, which is still in the GoPro right now. I think it was number 6, and there was a lot of play in it. There was a couple of them like that, there were a lot of play, and I thought, oh, here's my problem. And so I just, you know, when I reset all those valves and, you know, those preloads, I kind of like just wound it down further. And then one other thing I kept forgetting to check was just to see how in line all my rocker adjusters were. You know, these little black nuts and bolts with the little Allen key thing and stuff in there. And I kept forgetting to do it, you know, and part of this process as one of my checks. And until this morning, I came down before work, pulled the rocker covers off again, and run a straight edge across all of those, and the number 6 intake or exhaust, I can't remember which one now, was way down, and I thought, oh yeah, that's definitely out. And there were a couple of others were a bit low as well, so I kind of, this morning I just went in and I backed them all off, and I've let them sit all day. Hopefully they're kind of, the little spring inside is letting them come back up to where they need to be. But my concern now is that I actually may have a collapsed lifter in there somewhere, maybe one, possibly 2, I'm not sure. Which would have been giving me that lifter noise sort of thing until it kind of pumped up with oil, potentially, I think, maybe. But if it's collapsed and there's something wrong with the spring inside it, or it's got gunge or something inside it and it's not letting the lifter come back, that could explain that extra play I had in that rocker. Could do. This is all theoretical at this stage until I decide whether to pull the intake back off again and start pulling lifters out and having a look-see at them and see what is actually going on. But with that being all said, I've let it all sit today, as I just said just now. I'm gonna go through and reset all the preloads and just see where all those studs line up, and if they are all within kind of like a gnat's cock of each other, we'll try setting the timing again and try firing it, kicking it in the guts again. If they're all over the place, I think we might be taking this intake off again and having a look-see inside again, you know. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go through the process of setting all the lifters, bumping the engine over and all that kind of malarkey, and see where it goes from there. So I might just crank on ahead. There's no point showing you all that. Oh, yeah, I'm not trying to teach you anything. This is me muddling through trying to fix this shit myself. I've said before, I'm no mechanic. I've always shied away from the inner workings of the engines. I'll kind of like buy an engine and, you know, I can make it go usually if it's a good engine, but all the internal stuff, I've always kind of shied away from it. And to be fair, I've been pretty lucky with the engines I've had in my cars. They've been pretty good, and I don't move cars on quickly. I tend to own them for a while, and I've been pretty fortunate that I haven't had to do any major inside-y stuff. I mean, not that this is super major, but it's kind of still quite new to me, you know. So it's not a learning video. This is, yeah, probably more for your entertainment than anything else. So I'll get at it. so it goes-ish, better than it was anyway, so I think I might, well, I'm out on my timing, I know that for certain. And, okay, so where was I? Yeah, I think my timing is out my dizzy drop in. I think it's out a tooth, maybe. Something like that, because it doesn't matter which way I kind of go with the distributor. I kind of run out of room going in one direction. And yeah, so I think that's it. It could still be a lifter thing. I reset all the what do you call it, the lifter preloads and stuff after letting them sit for a day, all wound right back and wide open, so hopefully that worked-ish. Yeah, but hopefully they all came back. I run a straight edge across the top. A couple of them were a bit up and down. They weren't radically up or down on the stud heights and stuff like that, because I've read on the interweb that if they should all be roughly, if you look down them, they should all be roughly in a line, sort of thing. But I don't know. Yeah, in hindsight, I probably should have pulled the rockers and pulled the lifters and had a look, just to make sure that they were all clean and clear and opening and closing as they should. But yeah, so it kind of goes, but not well. Not as good as it was before I even started this process anyway. I might just have another look at where the distributor's set and have another go at that, drop it back in, and we'll take it from there. So I'll do that. Okay, so update where I left off the other night. It's now Saturday morning. The other night, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday night, I was had my theory about my timing being one tooth out and stuff like that. Don't think it was. Like, I went through it again and again, dizzy, in and out, and everything seemed right. So the only conclusion I could draw, and I tried to start it again and it just would not go at all. So the only conclusion I could draw is I still had too much preload on the lifters and I was hanging valves open. So this morning I've just checked the timing again and made sure it was, like, I think on TDC, like I did the pop the finger and all that kind of stuff, and I actually got a little Allen key and I found the piston sitting on top, just kind of feeling around, set the timing, and I've used this gauge thing here just to kind of roughly get me into 10 degrees before TDC, looking at it that way, sort of thing, try and take some of the guesswork out of it. And then finally I backed off all the lifters a half a turn again. It sounds extreme, but bear with me. I think I over adjusted them right back at the beginning of this exercise, sort of thing. So we'll give it a crack and see whether it goes. Yeah, no flames this time, hopefully. But I also left a plug lead off too, which probably wasn't helping. So I think we should be good to go. Okay, so it goes again. Woohoo! You see my little victory dance finally after about 400 attempts at trying to figure this thing out and flattening the battery and stuff like that, it's going. There's probably more gas in the oil than oil now, but it's going to get changed. Don't want to run it too long at this point because I've got no coolant in it. I didn't put any of that back in just in case I was pulling the intake and everything back off. So I'll chuck some coolant back in there, and then rocket covers back on, or valve covers, whatever you want to call them, and might have a little play with the timing light and see where we get to. Hopefully I can get it back to where we started. I've got new boots for those new leads. As always, they're arriving at work on a Saturday, which is a pain. So I got an email just before saying that they were on board for delivery. So they never used to deliver on Saturdays. They used to just hold it off until Monday. But now I've kind of got this urge to go into town and again and pick up my HT leads, my boots, so then I can put new leads on this thing and hopefully not screw that up. But yeah, bit of a lesson there, and like lifter preload adjustment. Everything I could find online was all about putting new lifters in, you know, like you're putting this, assembling the engine, putting the lifters in and doing your preload, not about kind of checking them later on down the track. So this, my takeaway from this is, like, I think I should have left it alone. But if you can't leave it alone, maybe kind of, I don't know, maybe you back them off and leave them for a longer period of time. If there's someone out there who knows from first world experience, dealing with like lifters and stuff and preloads on roller rockers, you know, do you kind of back them off, leave them overnight, let them kind of return to their original position or what, you know. I didn't hear any clattering and stuff, which hopefully I sorted that out, but we'll find out more once we get this thing all back together and get it up to temp and things like that, I guess, maybe. And hopefully we fix that water leak. Washing machine. Okay, so update. Just run the timing light up onto it, got it onto my marks that were there from previously, roundabouts. Got it up to temperature and got oil pressure, so that's a good thing. And just check the dipstick, can't see any coolant on that oil as yet. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that's sealed up. Still got an exhaust leak down here. I can hear it chuffing away and making the eyes sting a little bit. I should probably, once it cools down, deal with that properly, you know, rather than just try to tighten it up. Just did my idle mixtures again, and they seem to be all kind of pretty well dialed in now, I think. Only thing left to do now is take it for a test drive. Oh, I've got to put my air cleaner and that back on, but I've got a washing machine. I'm going to make a new gasket thing. This is just a little paper gasket, and it's a little bit thin, so I'm going to cut a new rubber gasket for that, just to, you know what I'm saying, like make it kind of seal a bit better, and stay tighter, if you know what I mean, like give it that rubber friction rather than just basically a bit of paper on top of the carburetor. It's just not quite enough thickness. Thicker cardboard would probably be better, you know, or thicker gasket material, I should say. But yeah, so I'll just got to put some stuff away or clear some stuff off. If I put it all away, guaranteed I'll need it again, so I'll just kind of pile all that shit onto there, put the timing light away. I haven't got a fancy dwell metered timing light, I've just got like a blinky light one, so I don't really know how to use the dwell meter ones, so never had one, never been that savvy with the whole timing bizzo. Washing machine. I bought a new battery charger yesterday too, and that kind of definitely helped kind of beef up the charging ability to get through this, and ultimately I didn't end up really needing it that much today. It just, once I figured out that preload thing a bit better, it went boom. So anyway, I'll put some stuff away, I'll move some stuff out of the way, and then we'll take it for a test run and see what it does. Come off my line a little bit. Should still be alright, I reckon. Right, air cleaner on. That's better. You don't have to crank on it so much to try and get it to stop moving, but actually I've just got to tie back my HT leads so they don't sit on the exhaust. wary of having them compressed when I did that initial adjustment is true, but whether one or two of them is not returning properly, I suspect that might be the case. I don't know whether there's any additives or whatever you can put in the oil to help kind of deal with that, and then dump it, you know, dump the oil. When the revs are up a bit, I can't hear the lifters, but when I kind of come back to just off idle, I can hear something, but it could also be that exhaust leak as well that's just kind of confutzing me a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so I'm just going for a little bit of a test drive. It seems to be going okay, but can't really kind of give it any kind of big accelerations and stuff like that. There's too much traffic around and too many people around and stuff, so yeah, you can definitely hear that lifter clattering. Something I didn't do either was to properly reset my TV cable. I just kind of put it back how it was, which should be alright. Felt like it was holding second gear a little bit then. Oh well, I'll carry on with my little loop that I'm doing, and then we'll get back home. Okay, so a couple of things of note. Definitely got lifter clatter and stuff going on, but also it's holding the gears too long. I need to readjust the shifter TV cable. Other than that, it's kind of right. Just not happy with all the racket that it's making. Okay, so it doesn't go well, it goes okay. After I switched the camera off and I kind of gave it a bit of a boot for it, did a big kind of like a lean sneeze and you know, so, and yeah, lots of lifter noise, tappet noise type of stuff. So I think my timing's about right, so I know it goes with that, so I'll leave that and I'm going to get back into these valves. But how to unstick a sticky lifter is my next kind of battle. I think that's what it is, and I made the problem worse by adjusting it and things like that without really thinking far enough ahead, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to wait for it to cool down enough. I'm going to take these rocker covers back off and have a look and see where it's all at now, and I may see if I can get some Rizlone or something like that, and see if I can kind of give the engine a bit of a flush. I don't really want to kind of run it too much with all the lifters all over the place at the moment, but I don't know. I don't know whether I'll do damage or whether it's just clattery and the valves won't be opening fully, if you know what I mean, because they're all pretty much at like 0 lash at the moment, and there's no preload on them. But I'm going to check all that again and just see where it's at, and then make the call on doing the engine flush. I've got to flush this oil and that out anyway, so might as well do it. And my boots have arrived at my work, so I might shoot into town and go and grab those and pick up some engine flush stuff. I should do that while this is cooling down, maybe. Or no, I want to check these, see what the valves and the lifters, the rockers in that are doing now that it's hot, you know what I mean? Yeah, so take these off. Burn my hands a bit in the process, I think. Okay, so all that stuff I said before about going out and getting engine treatment stuff, I didn't do it. I thought I'll get one more crack at doing the preload while everything's hot. So I cracked all of the adjusters, wound them off, left them for a while, let anything kind of relax a little bit that was going to relax, set TDC on number 1 again, and then started the procedure again. Went through, did all the rocker preloads or lifter preloads. So I'm just going to put the rocker covers back on, the air cleaner back on, and we'll give it another run. It's since started raining, so, but that neither here nor there, but you know, I'll do that and then I'll give it another little run down the road. Still got to go and do those leads. My leads are pretty stuffed on this, so there's a bit of a mix and match of different boots and plugs and ends and stuff on them, so some of them don't really click on very well, so they're bound to be a kind of a weak point in the firing sort of thing. I've run it again since doing the valves. I'll show you. Doing the preload, I should say. Terminology is terrible. I want to run it up too long because it starts pumping oil all over the place, which is what it did before. One rocker in particular was really pumping out a lot of sludgy crap, like same as last time. Whether that's just stuff that's kind of broken free now, I don't know. On the dipstick, oil's still clean. As it's coming up through the motor, it is kind of yuckying up a little bit. Whether that's still that old oil coming up through the lifters, I would have thought my run earlier today would have, or earlier on, would have kind of cleared that, but don't know, could still be a head gasket that's part of the problem, I don't know. I really need to do a compression test, but I haven't got a compression tester. I thought it was something I could go and buy and do. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to put the rocket covers back on, valve covers, whatever you want to call them, air cleaner, disconnect the old Hot Rod Hermit 1.0 and yeah, take it for a wee spin. Okay, so didn't get very far, got to the end of the street and back, running like shit. I just don't understand it. With zero lash, it runs okay, it's still a bit missy, but really chattery. With, I only put quarter of a turn into it, and it's like missing, no power, stuff like that. All my leads are on. I came back and thought I'll chuck a timing light on it. It's a little bit out, but could be, yeah, don't know. I'm a bit stumped. Could still be a head gasket. I'm wondering, there was a bit of milky shit in the right hand rocker cover. Again, I was wondering whether is that just crap that's coming up through, you know, still relieving itself sort of thing, getting through the system, but or is it a head gasket, like between an oil gallery and the coolant thing and stuff? I don't know. So I don't know. I'm gonna let it, push it out onto the street, set it on fire. No, I'm just joking. I'll figure it out eventually. But I'm starting to suspect it might be a head gasket, unfortunately. And I did notice it's got a tiniest little leak on the intake manifold in one of the corners coming out the ways. I think I did spill some coolant around the place when I was topping it off. So it could be that. I don't know at this point. Yeah, so I'm a bit stumped at the moment as to what to do next. It's still shifting a bit hard, but alright, that's just, you know, neither here nor there when it's not even running properly. It's sort of, it could be not creating the right kind of environment for it to shift properly, if you know what I mean. Who knows? Yeah, so I will, yeah, I might pull these rocker covers off and have a look inside them again and just see if there's more liquid, watery liquid floating around. Especially on that far side, I'll do that one first. Some gloves on this time. I learnt last time that everything gets really hot when you run it. Oh, I beat my gasket. A little bit of moisture inside there, but inside the rocker cover, but I didn't I kind of wiped it out earlier, and yeah, didn't really kind of clean it out, so I'm expecting to see a little bit in there still, but don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. A bit of steam coming out of there. You can see the moisture in there. A little bit milky again. Yeah. A little bit the same on the other one as well. This is the one I was most concerned about because it's had a lot of milky stuff in it before. Yeah, so we still got a bit of condensation, moisture and that in there. So I think, where did that come from? I'm starting to really think we got something more ominous going on than just that intake gasket. I'm starting to think it's a head gasket. Could probably do a compression test if I had a compression tester, which I might go and get one, and then I can, once this is cooled down, do an actual compression test and see where it's at. Still don't understand the deal with these lifters though, like why it runs okay with 0 lash and then it runs like a bag full of arseholes with quarter of a turn, when the specs for, I think the specs for these comp lifters, I'm pretty sure they're comp lifters, is a full turn. So yeah, so I mean, unless they're full of kind of watery oil or something like that from, you know, the intake or the blown head gasket or whatever, I don't know. So but anyway, this video is dragging out, so thanks for watching and persevering with bumbling idiot in the garage. Well guys, that's where I'm going to leave this video. I was hoping to get this going properly in this video, but I don't think that's going to be the case. It's just dragging on and on and on and on. I'm going to have to dig a bit deeper into this and find out what's going on, which I think is going to involve compression test, intake off again, probably heads off and head gasket and stuff like that. So sorry for wasting your time, but this is how it rolls sometimes, especially in my garage. Anyway, if it wasn't for the old Hot Rod Hermit 1.0, the job would have been a whole lot more difficult. So as always, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It'll be down here somewhere. Like, share, comment. Let us know what you think about those lifters. It's a real problem. I think I compounded the problem. I think there was already a problem growing, because when I originally took the rocket covers off, there was a couple that were real loose. So I think there was already a couple of lifters that were playing up. And I just made them worse. So now it'll only run half decent if there's like 0 lash on the lifters. But yeah, anyway, I think I'm going to have to dig deeper into this and see what I can figure out. But yeah, so like I said, as always, thanks for watching. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, like, share, comment. Till next time, take it easy and peace.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement.